Howdys and salutations, y'all. I know it's been a little while since we had that break, but I am happy to be back. Hope y'all are too. Now, some of you may be wondering, hey, wait a second, that's not Blender. But don't worry, we're not done with Blender November just yet. That said, I do want to give the heads up, this might end up being a slightly shorter stream due to two choices that I don't regret but have left me exhausted. Uh, one of which is my neighborhood put up wreaths on the light, like, I don't know, street lights, whatever you want to call them. I guess that's the word for them. Like I said, I'm real tired. So I'm going to be rambly and incoherent today, so I've set aside, we've got a clear list of things that we're going to do, and we're going to make some cool stuff happen. I hope. But yeah, two things. One of them was helping that, but that was more physical activity than I've done in a long time. I'm putting those up on posts and stuff. And the second one was I got a little bit carried away on a sewing project and may have stayed up until 4 in the morning doing it. Now, I realize I have a job and can't afford to do that, like at all. But it was worth it because I've almost finished making a dress shirt, which feels awesome. That said, I'm going to need to sleep tonight to make up for my own mistakes. So this will probably be a low-key stream. And we'll just keep it at that. So first off, you're probably wondering why we have Clip Studio Paint open when this is clearly a Blender stream. I should probably rename the stream. It's been a little while since I've done that too. Let's do that first. I realize I'm swapping activities immediately and getting distracted. But I think this is at least, you know, worth doing. Let's see, it's all coming together. That's a good name. And apt because it is. And not just in the metaphorical sense of using skills from across platforms. So, this is going to be real basic, but I just wanted to throw together a quick texture for us to use. And, I mean, you can do, this is basic enough we could do it in Blender, but A, easier in Clip Studio, and B, why not practice making and importing a texture? Or material. And maybe figure out what the difference between those two things is, because that feels important. Actually, let's Google that right now, or actually Firefox DuckDuckGo it. I guess I am using Google on this still. I should swap to DuckDuckGo. What was I going to look up? Yes, Blender material versus texture. I get the difference between an object and a mesh, but thank you, auto-suggest. Let's see what this website has to say. This looks... I can't vouch for them or anything. I have no idea if they're good or not, but maybe they can answer our question. Okay. I feel like I know what a shader is well enough. Let's see. Oh, okay, so it's sort of like texture is just the flat image, and the material is sort of the object within Blender that can take that image and manipulate it or apply it to surfaces and stuff. Okay. Let's see. Interesting. This would be a much more useful reference if they had like the light rotating, so you could actually see one of them change and one not. I guess you can sort of see it, but like, I don't know. Yeah, texture maps. Okay, I remember way back when messing with these when I was trying to create content for City Skylines. Wow, that's a long time ago now. So that's on sale for like $8 today for that Black Friday stuff. It's a good game, really dense, but fun in its own way. Although the death waves that result from city planning are kind of a weird quirk they should probably fix. Like, you can't block too much residential at once, or they inexplicably, from demographics, like, all die off in the same 5 years, and they'll just completely overwhelm your city. It's crazy. Oh yeah, and then the shaders. Yeah. Yeah, okay, so shader plus texture equals material, roughly speaking. Someday we'll have to get into custom shaders and figure out the benefits of that. Well, thank you, Eric Sellen, I guess, for writing this little article. Very helpful. This is not going to be a complex texture, though. At all. Not even a little bit. Nor would I really want it to be right now. Here it is, line tools hidden. I just want something that will basically be able to visibly move on the surface of our object so that we can create the illusion of scenery passing by as the gate marches. But it can literally be something super basic. In fact, that's my intent. So, let's find ourselves a slightly less bold color combo. Where's my color picker hiding? There it is. That's better. Boom. Both useful functions in their own right. I'm glad that they both exist. Displayed versus from layer. Early on, I had a bias. I was like, oh, I always want displayed color, but actually, they're both handy. No, this one. Okay. Now here's the problem. And it is a bit of a problem. I need to figure out how to evenly subdivide this. Because I want these at very precisely even intervals, or else it can throw stuff off a little. Oh, and sorry if y'all hear me eating. I am eating dinner because it's been a busy day. So let's see. No, the opposite of that. Zoom out, actually, if you would. I mean, I don't usually like grid snapping on here. But I would, in this case, actually like to see the edge rulers, which I don't think are controlled under this. Metrical ruler is not what we need in this case. It's not guide, that's no. And the rulers are so hard to get rid of, too. Gotta, like, pick the darn things up and then delete them. Can't just undo them. At least not easily. Let's see. Window, canvas. No, I don't want a new window. I don't want custom workspace in this case. Different kind of material here. No, okay. Let's see. Well, I may just have to search this one. I thought I might find it. Unless, hold on. No, okay. It was a possibility. Not hidden under here, is it? Nope, these are all the 3D assets. And I guess other assets too. They don't have to be 3D. Interesting. Pull this open. Hello, Firefox. And, right, that's what I use these days. Doop-a-doop-a-doo. CSP, add ruler to edge of paper. Sure. Ruler slash unit. Because I hid them a while back, because normally I don't like them, they take up space. CSP margin ruler. I feel like that's going to give me a different thing, isn't it? Okay, fine, let's check grid ruler settings. Line color. I'm looking through the CSP documentation right now, actually. Well, let's try. But I don't think this is going to be the right thing. Oh, it might be somewhere in here. That's not going to be cursor. What did that say? I love the way the text gets compressed sometimes. Checked on the ground according to light source. Wow. Okay. Yeah, I forget how much 3D power CSP has its own in its own right, just for references and such. I think we already checked this one, but just in case. Maybe I should just look up CSP show grid. Oh, it's under view. Oh, dagnabbit. There we go. Sometimes you just gotta find the right search term, you know? Let me resituate and we will get started on this. Okay, here we go. 3 pixels actually seems fine to me. Would help if I wasn't using exactly the same color. I actually thought about doing like a pure white on top of this. That might look a little much though. That's not super visible. Can always go darker. Or even slightly more gold. Kinda works. Oh good, it's not letting me do the drag and drop again. That's always a fun issue. And definitely not really annoying. Oh nice. With the grid snapping, this really is easy. And I don't even have to get the cursor close. This is perfect for sleepy time, drowsy drawing. But I don't think that one made it all the way to the end. There we go. Let's see. Another and another and another and another. Whoops. It's hard enough for me to see in person. I'm sure this like barely shows on stream. When I remove the grid, it'll be pretty obvious, I think. I want this to be continuous, probably. Interesting. I wonder if I can just... I doubt there's canvas resizing, but I can leave a mark there to crop to. And I want to crop that with the line included, which is fine. Okay, so now let's go back to view. Put these away. Now, it's not exactly an artistic masterpiece, but it will do for our purposes. Or as a PNG, sure. And let's make sure we put this in the right place. Go to Blender. Target. This will be fine. Oh, right, because it's stylus, I can write, but I don't want to change the name. So sure, just put that there. Sure. I wonder if this will let me crop. Not really. Okay, well, that's fine. Anyway, neato, let's open up Blender. Oops, and let me make sure I think I've got Discord open back here, so we'll just put that away for now. There we go. Good enough. Right, because the cursor control, the way the tablet is mapped is different depending on if I have CSP open or not. Let's see. Let's crack open the Ishtar gate. Now let's see. I mean, we could just do a test render real quick, see what we're looking at. Right. Nonsense. Wonderful. I mean, this already is actually looking cool, if very silly. So what I actually want to do is for this, I want to... Not a new world. But on this specific object, I'd like to look at the material. I'd like to create a new one. Oh dear. How many of them did I create? And is there a way I can see a list of all of them? Ah, joy. Plat mat 1, 2, and 3. Well, okay, this will be fine. We'll work with this. Plat mat lined. Define base color, but of course what I actually want is an image texture. I'm gonna have to create a new one. Or actually, let's open one. Here we go. Open image. Let's see if this ends up looking... Okay, nope. What? Okay, I guess that was just there. But no, don't just randomly drag things. Okay, so it was just in my selections. Fine, fine. That's a-okay, honestly. Well, that's worryingly just a single tone. Did I make it way too big or something? Let's look at UV editing on this. Where even is it? I mean, obviously I see where the texture is, but where's this showing up in the UV? Well, I guess I haven't... I mean, it's two-dimensional. There's not a lot to unwrap. wonder if it can even unwrap two-dimensional things. I'm suspicious that did nothing. But that's okay. Okay. I would. Right, I was still using the stylus. That's why my controls felt so weird. Ah, okay, so I can see. The material is just way too big and sideways. Let's fix that a little bit, shall we? Hmm. No, those aren't. I don't think those are what I need. Let's see. Anyway, in edit mode, if I just select those edges and then we go to UV editing, can we see it? Aha! So now what I can do. All right. There we go. Let's make this a little bit larger. That's not scale. This is scale. Oh, and then I need to transform. Still, it's about right. Well, oh, I never did clip the end off of the texture, but I can still clip it off of this. That's gonna be close. It's a little bit of a sloppy approach, but it'll be okay. Okay, let's just save that. Back to layout. Now that it's mapped a little differently. Oh yeah, we can even see it on here. So let's try render. Now I will say this is a much less interesting surface than that bold gold we had before. I wonder if I can filter or tweak it in Blender enough to be worth trying that. Maybe. Let's give it a go. There you go, nice rich gold. Oh, cool. So nothing shows through when I do that. I guess I shouldn't expect it to work that way. Okay, you know what? Better solution. We're making a V2 with a much richer gold color. Because I like that high contrast. Um, I guess it's easy to find a straight line with this technique. Or two of them, as the case may be. Oh, interesting. Well, sloppier fix for a sloppy solution. Which layer is this actually on? If I do this and I have the vector eraser out, I don't know if that answers which layer that's on. Nope. Hmm. Interesting. So if anything, it's just a gap in the gold layer. Well, in that case, let's not use this. Let's use the actual brush here. We can do a little quick cleanup on that with a stylus and not a mouse, probably. It's amazing. The right tool for the job goes such a long way. Like, it doesn't have to be a world class any of the tool, but just, well, I guess depending on the job, it might need to be. But generally, like for this stuff, just having a stylus that's like just having a stylus, full stop, so much of an improvement on a lot of things. But there's other things where using the mouse and not the stylus is objectively better. Um, that's a little more of an exciting pattern, isn't it? Let's try this again. Hmm. Let's not mess with that right now. V2. Documents. Blender Ishtargate V2. Yes. Yes. Save, and we'll put this away. Okay. Actually, let me just update plat texture. I should just do that. Don't want to mess with that setting. Not right now anyway. Okay. Oh, really? And texture 2 not .png not showing up in the right folder? No, it should be there. That just means I've not imported it or something yet. Let's just make a new one. Find gold. Um, toss all those out. We're just going to reopen. Oh, there we go. And then that's probably enough stylus. We're back to mouse for most of the navigating here because that middle mouse button, I'm sure you could map a stylus to be really good for it, but I have not done that. So that would be awkward. Whoa, sorry, Blunderlog. Did not mean to open you. No offense, you're great, but yeah, was not my goal. Okay, so edit mode. This one, UV editing. Oh, okay, and we're even here. And it maps perfectly, because same size. Awesome. Okay, then let's try this again. It looks like it's walking along one of those like paint store strip things. You know, like the chip that's got a few different colors on it that you can compare. Those are always fun. I saw an old craft guide that suggested making like notebooks out of them by folding them around. They're not very good notebooks. They're way too small to be useful, but they're kind of cute. Okay, so we've got our nonsense going on here. I know we still got some lighting nonsense back there, but that's not a tonight solution. But what we will do is work on animating this. That's right, we're animating the textures. if I can remember how to do it right. I did actually do some research on this one, so I wouldn't be going in blind, but, well, I'm also a little bit tired, if you hadn't noticed. So we'll see how this goes. Go into 0. The thing on this action editor is it needs to be an action not for the gate or the armature, which has a few, but for this platform itself. So let's create a new action. Let's call it Texture Drift. I'm sure we'll want a more descriptive name of which movements it goes with later, but for now, let me... Actually, we're not even going to iframe it yet. We're going to open up the texture on it. We're going to go down to Displacement. No, we might need to open this in geometry nodes even. That'd be interesting. None of these are... Yeah. Yep, okay. Interesting. That makes this a tiny bit more of a challenge. Placement should just be gonna mess with things, but okay, not in a bad way. An object data property. UV map? No. No. Okay, mapping perhaps? No, that's not what we want. What this would do is, yeah, repetition multiplier in the x direction, change how much the pattern itself is repeating, which right now is 0. And given the scale of our object, doesn't need to be anything other than that. Let's see. Now that's interesting. They've got some defaults in here right now. Another time, I'm gonna have to. Ooh, I have some unfinished business with with the collision physics in Maya. So I wonder if we could do that project better here. Because oh boy, it was not great in Maya. Not Maya's fault, but more my fault. Let's see. Okay, anyway, I was wondering if we get into geometry nodes. Looks like we might. But the problem is this is the geometry, and what I really need is add node, or color. Not that, I need the... Is it even the texture? I would have assumed it was the material. Yeah, these are just textures that you can input into it. Material, here we go. Material index. No, that's not helpful. I need the geometry nodes not on the object, but... Well, maybe I don't need a geometry node. Maybe I need a node tree for the material. That's interesting. I wonder if they have that. So for context, what we're trying to do is we want to make it so that the object does not move, but the material does move across its surface. Which, I think I actually had an article pulled up on how to do that, so let me check. Unless I foolhardily hid it away somewhere. Nope, not that. It's not going to be this either, that's just more on the armature itself. Where did I put that? Well, we'll just find it again, looks like. The problem with me is that when I'm tired, I try to clean things up, and sometimes I clean things up too fast. It's not the worst problem to have, but it is when you were still using the things that you clean up mid-use. Let's see. No, not just assigning a material. Ouch. Texturing. Is it possible to animate textures? Okay, there's some complex versions and some old versions. Let's see what we can find. Actually, it looks like there's a lot of ways to do this, which is good because it's an old post, so some of these may not be here anymore. But some of them might be. So let's try it. So here's our guide. Once again, we're on Stack Exchange because, of course, we are. We always end up on Stack Exchange on these. Like, there's really no escaping it. But I'm glad it exists. So offset sliders in the textures panel. Not just textures here, but we have a textures panel on this. Where does the textures panel live on the object? Or is it in its own view? Because we're in the textures view right now. Texture properties. Oh, we were looking here. Under mapping, you say? I'm pretty sure I looked under mapping. Extension. Oh. Aha, okay. There we go. The issue was I was using repeat when I... Do I even need to be extending it? That's not really... Maximum we could make larger, but I doubt that's going to do much of anything. Filter type, no, that's just sampling, that's fine. Okay. Animating the offset sliders in the textures panel. Wait, am I on the correct texture? I am not. Ground texture V2. Let's try this again. Still don't think this is going to do much of anything. I mean, unless I really go crazy with it, but... Repeat. I could just clip. Or checker. Extend is just a full-on. I'm actually down for repeat. I don't think it matters in this case. I won't really bother with it all that much, but interesting. Custom properties. I don't think we want to mess with this right now. Default value, and then you'd have to use the node editor to do anything useful with that. Okay, that's fine. May end up in the node editor anyway, which I kind of love, so that's a-okay. How to animate texture change in Blender. Using the offset parameters. See if we can find the offset parameters anymore. Is the issue that I'm not in the material itself? I don't suppose there's just a material view, is there? No. Nope, okay. I mean, UV editing kind of... Between that and textures, it should be mostly covered. And then rendering... Like, material lives in a lot of places. One view alone, I guess, wouldn't really make sense. Though we could always make a custom one if we need. Later. Let's see. Look at UV editing view. This might be more relevant to our need. Flat matte lined gold. Yeah, we got our preview. Interesting that it looks like this. Wonder if I did that while messing with the repeat options. Most likely. Well, then let's keep on. Not subsurface, not metallic, not specular. Probably shouldn't have messed with this off of its default. No, I don't think this is what we want. Because it feels like displacement is what we want, really. So maybe let me look up at Blender animating material displacement. Or even just Blender material displacement. Make sure that we understand it. Oh, does this cause displacement not of the texture itself, but of the object it's applied to? Interesting. Okay, yeah, that's deformation. That's a little different than what we're going for, but will be handy in the future. Actually, that for another project, that would actually be quite handy. Interesting. I mean, not to be mysterious about it, I don't know if that's a project I'll go back to. I just remember I did one way back when that was basically looked like something dropping into a pond. But like looking at it from level with the surface of the pond, it was very, very simplistic. Like not more of an abstract thing than actually looking like a pond. But you could see the waves because of the deformation applied to one line. And by line, I mean very long and thin rectangular object. It was an interesting effect. Okay. How to animate a texture. Man, I need to find something for Blender 3.0. Move material across object 3.0. Okay, let's see. I know this isn't the most exciting thing in the world to watch. Okay. Blender 3.0 animate texture move. How do you make a texture move in Blender? Dagnab YouTube videos. I just want something written if I could. Okay, here's one from 2 years ago instead of like 6. Shading, that's where the node editor for this is. Oh, okay. Well, this is much less terrible. We can work with it. Is my heckin' battery backup trigger? I mean, I'm glad it worked, but I'm a little bit worried about what's setting it off. Well, hopefully it keeps clicking. It looks like it's back on the correct voltage now. So good for you, battery backup, for keeping me live. That would have been awkward right when we find this. Okay. I'd still need to figure out how to adjust this. What exactly do I need to be updating in this? Let's see. So texture coordinate mapping goes into base color. Ground texture V2. I mean, I don't suppose vector would be it. Let's try... I don't know, mapping. There should be a mapping node. And we're just going to search for it. Boom. Let's see. It's a vector output, so it's there. Oh boy, I can't tell if that's aligned in any way meaningfully or not. Let's go back to our shading view. We got to be able to actually see this one rendering to make sure that what we're showing is correct, which we not at all. Okay, hold on. Z-axis rotate 90 degrees. That's our start. That's location, and I just moved it 90 meters away. rotate 90 degrees. Let's maybe try that again. Hoping we'd see a little more of it. Scale, let's drop all three of these to 0.5. Not gonna show it to us? No. Interesting. Location. Huh. Well, just gonna keep on digging on this and we'll see what we've got. Linear, flat, repeat, single image. That's fine. Yes. Yes. I mean, I guess I could have just made an animated GIF of this. That would have been something. Alright, let me find the reference I'm looking at. So, using that for a noise texture. So this example is a little different. Yeah, because I'm throwing the vector into the wrong thing, I think. What does this vector even do, necessarily? Wait. Texture, I don't think that's going to affect it. Vector, no. Normals, no. We'll go back to point. Or, actually, I don't know, maybe affecting the entire texture is the way to go. I forgot those have random colors back there. I always surprise myself when I look back and see what nonsense exists in the background. Okay, so the UV mapping doesn't seem to be an apt description of what's happening anymore. Makes me wonder... Hopefully this didn't break anything. Maybe just displacement? No, that's gonna make it... Yeah, like we saw, that's not really what we're looking for. In any case, I don't think you can displace using itself. Unless something else is already going into it, in which case I guess you could get a recursive thing going. But that is definitely not our goal today. I should have known this piece would be more complicated than I thought. These always end up a little interesting. To read this, it says, I've linked a magic texture to the base color of my principled BSDF in the shading node editor. In the menu on the right under item, there's a section for texture mapping. When I change a location, the texture moves on my object. I want to animate this movement. If I try to insert a keyframe to the slider for location X, it says failed to resolve path to property. I'm manually specifying this using a king set instead. No clue what that means. Okay. I can't even get that much going. But here's the original Asker's image, which they've got a magic texture, which, okay, it's got a vector. And then the solution was that other one we were looking at, where they don't have a magic texture, but they have a noise texture. And I don't really want to scale the roughness at all, but I guess it has scale. Noise is not what we really want, though. Of course I'd have to, well. Now let's see, let's read the full description. Before your magic texture node, and then animate the fields from the mapping node. Okay, that's what I'm trying to do. Cool website, yes, very helpful. And that's displacement. That's okay. Which, by the way, I think I can just toss that node here. Oh, that may have been part of the issue. Let's add that mapping node back and try this again. Okay, no, this is definitely the actual issue. Um, because, if we recall, the texture on the flat UV map, before we did any rotating of it or anything, was just stuck right along one column, and the texture itself was far too big. So I assume that is the cause of our issue here. The question is how to resolve that. Because unfortunately the texture isn't going to show in this view, it's just going to be sort of a flat gold. Well, actually, hold on, let me... there we go. That should... yeah, okay, so that's back without that. It's just immediately gone at that point. And I don't think... okay, let's try scaling it down. Back that. No, that should have at least made the line show up if my old theory was true, so I don't think that's the case. Interesting shading there. You know, I kind of like the children's toy set-y feel that these have over here. Maybe flat colors would be fun to mess with again. But I want to get this working first before we do anything else. Okay, so what... so the vector input on a texture... ooh... well, no, because it's the image, it repeats. Try clipping and see if that changes it. Seems to have changed the lighting. That's interesting. Extend makes it back to this, and then repeat makes it back. Interesting. No, not those. Cubic, that's... no. Linear. Yeah, colors... yeah, no, I'm staying in the sRGB color space for now. There are reasons to go into some of those other ones, but not right now for this project. Putting this as a vector, just as a vector. Oh, maybe we do need to... well, the problem is that I'm having to run it through the actual texture object, which isn't ideal. Or maybe... do we need a texture coordinate? I mean, I might as well try it, rather than just dismissing it offhand. Yeah, that. Generated vector. Oh! Okay, that was it. I'm dumb. I should have actually just followed... I'd like to understand what each of these two nodes does, though. I don't like just adding nodes and not learning them, because you don't really get much from that. Still, this was a good guide so far, and I think we can get it from here. Texture... but let's look these up real quick. Coordinate node Blender. Because that's the thing with Blender is... once you sort of get going, oftentimes it's easiest to just pick a project and start running on it, and then learn as you go. But you do have to make sure you're actually learning as you go and not just sort of hacking it together. Because otherwise I'll forget it. Okay, texture coordinate node Blender docs. Specific okay. Node has, right, no inputs. Commonly used for the coordinates of textures. Instancing from vertices or faces. Use texture coordinates from that. Text, okay. Oh, okay, so this is how you get from the mesh position to the texture. So, like, it's actually putting the texture on the mesh. Okay. Oh, okay. So, oh, that's clever. UV map of one. Okay. And then the other one, like, I don't fully understand it, but I think that I at least broadly know what it's doing. Mapping node blender. Transforms the input vector by applying translation rotations. Oh, okay, so this just generates a flat value, a vector value, from the location of this object, the flat plane in our case. Mapping allows us to adjust that value. Well, then let's go back to point. Let's rotate this 90 degrees. Was that the wrong axis? There we go. Nope, I needed them both. It was one of those incidents. Okay, let's scale this down. Oh boy, it's already at 0.2. Let's try 0.02. And I really only need to do one axis, but I'm doing all three. Uh-oh. Was it the opposite issue? Do I need to just... Okay, yep, it was the opposite issue. That's fine. We'll just leave it as is. That works. Okay. Well, now that's looking halfway decent. Now is the interesting part. Which of these do I need to adjust to move this? It's not Y. I feel like it is Y, though. Unless this is rotated, but the rotation isn't it's still using its axes relative to the texture and not the... Okay. In which case it might be X. It's X. Okay, well that's easy enough. Whew, that was a lovely little voice crack. That's always exciting. Anyway, we're keyframing the heck out of this. Insert keyframe. Cool. Animation view. And then, just as a placeholder, because it's only doing like one jump. Well, okay, two jumps. Boop, boo-doop, boo-doop, boo-doop. So at the apex of this jump, probably want it to have moved. I don't know. We'll have to. We'll just sort of have to feel it out for how we want to do this. Insert keyframes again for this one. Basically, we'll have to feel out the speed. Oh, it would help if I actually moved the dang keyframes, wouldn't it? What am I doing? Okay, so the X. Let's see. So 0 is here. Okay, so no, hold on. 0 is right there, aligned roughly a tiny bit more than the upward distance, but that way. Let's get another one to that same position. Oh, okay, 1 meter? Oh, well, that works out, even if it's just a close approximation. Replace keyframe. Okay. And then that means at 120, we just chuck it to 2 meters. And we keyframe these again. Interesting that all three keyframe together. I guess that makes some amount of sense. But I feel like we probably will want more control than that in the future. Now, looking at animation view, with this... Oh, I don't know if it's going to render this in real time. Oh, it may try. Okay. So our little conveyor belt here is moving much too fast and the wrong way. And it's easing, which is not what I want. Okay. Well, exciting times for the graph editor. Can I even view the texture in the graph editor? I'm not sure. Oh dear. Hold on. Maybe if I open it up here? Yeah, I didn't. Hey, okay. There we go. Blender's interface. Weirdly intuitive when it wants to be. Okay. So I think the 1 to 2 meter thing is obviously a little off. But B, more importantly, this should not be easing at all. Oh, I can just set it. Interpolation mode, linear. Hey! That's what I was looking for earlier. Okay, that's much better. Now if I'm here, it's... Well, any speed differences are going to be from my own hand instead of from this. Interesting. Okay. So the next issue... Well, I guess it's a nice sign, although it's hard to tell from it going that fast. The texture seems to loop nice enough. Okay, so we start here on frame 0. Frame 1, oh dear. Frame 0. Frame 1, frame 2, frame 3. So it's at 0.05. That's what this keyframe should be, is 0.05. Oh boy. 0.05, but actually negative 0.05. Replace that keyframe. And this one's going to be negative 0.1. Replace that keyframe. Oh no. Undo. Place this keyframe. Negative 0.1. No, 0.01. Place the keyframe. So this one's negative 0.5, that. We'll see. We'll see on this. Let's go to the animation view and actually let this run. Oops. Well, I figured this would be the case with this particular animation, which is why I shouldn't have started with it, and in fact I won't. So the trick with this motion, because it's been so long on the ground, we're actually going to need to not have a constant speed. We're going to need the ground texture to pause while it's down, and then move while it's up, which will give the illusion the artist has jumped forward a little bit. However, instead of starting with that, which, by the way, texture drift, defend it, please. Thank you. Okay. Just not even worth risking. So for our armature, let's try, instead of skipping, let's go to sneak, because it's going to be a consistent movement. Okay, so the good news is first half moves the... Okay, no, the second half moves the correct way. Just to confirm that, this is the wrong way. This is the correct way. Okay, shading. Grab this, grab our mapping, and let's see what we're looking at. So we start at 0. We get to negative 0.05, and we get to negative 0.01. Okay, so it should have been 5. This needs to go to 0.05 and then 0.1. Couple mistakes. Lovely. 0.05. Place keyframes. 0.1. Replace keyframes. That said, still useful because we got a good idea of the speed it moved at. Oh, that was ominous. Okay, so what I'm looking at here, and amazingly, it's rendering this fast enough to keep up with our frames per second relatively well. I mean, it's not perfect renders, obviously. You can see it's a little chunky, but dang, is it doing it. Okay, so what I want to look for is when a foot is on the ground, is it tracking believably with this line? And the answer is not 100%, especially during its initial pause on each of these, but pretty close. Close enough that I'd say it would be believable if seen at the angle that we're actually doing our renders from. Which is awesome. That's exactly what we wanted. Okay. So let me think for a second. there's two of these that I really want to do this for. Texture drift is obviously working great for this motion, which is, I think I should probably rename it texture sneak. Because if you hadn't guessed already, we're going to need different, basically, much like we had different animations for the arch, we need different animations for the ground for each of those. So, if we look at our armature, and we go from sneak to, I guess maybe you can do all these animations in one single, like, action track. You can animate multiple things. Might be worth testing. But I really like skipping. So let's go to skipping. Let's go to the shade. We'll go down here to mapping. And here's the problem, is I'm pretty sure the animation that we're still working in for this is the original one. So, let's go back to animation. Yeah, we're still on texture sneak. Let's make a new one. This one will be texture... What's the other one? Skip. Yeah, texture skipping. Normally that's not... Normally texture skipping isn't something you want. Let's see. Then we shall keep on keeping on. Texture skipping. Let's look at the skipping motion real quick and see what the 5 phases it goes through. Because it goes through a lot. Yeah. Really, even choosing this, it's not going to show me the keyframe? That's fine. Okay. So it starts and ends in the air. That's interesting. Because that's actually when we want the motion to be happening. When it's here, we want motion. And this one, we probably don't want linear motion. We actually do want these speed up and slow down. So, yeah. Okay. So 0 through... I mean, it hits the ground pretty quick. It kind of eases into that ground pose. I guess for this, we can do our slightly faster textures. Oh, hey! It actually showed... Okay. So it's basically impacted by 20. And I think we can probably leave it at that. So we want this to ease in, the texture's motion to ease in towards 20. We'd leave it exactly the way it is now, basically. And then stop for 20. Stop through 40. And then at 40, we want it to start accelerating again, reach max speed at 60, and slow back down, freezing by 80 again. 80's frozen, and then we're accelerating back up. Okay, so it's a little out of sync, but it's easy enough to do. Assuming I can figure out how to apply multiple animations to our surface here. Texture skipping. Which, oh right, I just created a duplicate of the existing one, so it still has that motion in it. Okay, well that's fine, I think. We'll have to double check double check texture sneak after making a change to make sure that we're changing a different one. But if we are, then that's fine. Okay, so remember, we want it to move until 20, and then we want to keyframe 20 at exactly whatever this position is. Insert keyframe. And then I want no change in position until 40. I'm going to copy this. We're going to go to 40. I'm going to paste this in here, and I'm going to keyframe it again. Insert keyframes. So now our texture should move, stop while it's down, and then move again. Now the catch with this one is I do actually want the interpolation to be Bezier. Bezier? I apologize for I do not know. And let's actually, hold on. Let's change our scale a little bit towards so that we can actually see what we're looking at here. And just holding down Control and dragging with the middle mouse button really does make that easy. Okay, cool. So it accelerates. Oh, okay, that's the... Oops. Okay, that's fine. So it accelerates, Or actually, it's pretty fast, and then it slows, freezes, and then it jumps a lot. So we don't want it to jump this far. Actually, I could probably just drag this. How much does it change here? From, well, okay, from on frame 0, it's 0. On frame 20, it's 0.167, or 0.0167. That times 2, I'm getting my calculator out. Because fortunately, we know that it's going to move, because this motion is consistent, during each 20 frame chunk that it moves, it's going to move the same distance the ground is. Even if it's accelerating or decelerating, it'll still move the same distance. So 0.0167 times 2 is 0.0333. I should have guessed that. As we saw, that's where it was landing before. So, okay. 0.0333333333. That's enough. Replace keyframes. Ah, rats. No, don't do that, actually. Copy this. We want that keyframe for 60, not 40. Wait, no. Don't do that. Just paste. There we go. Then insert or replace keyframes. Okay, so we've got it slows down. It stays steady. It begins to leap. This one I also want to be interpolation type Bezier. Ooh, okay. Let's maybe tone that down a notch. Oh, that's interesting. Now, why is it doing that? Because this one's still linear? Nope, don't do that. Okay, no. Undo whatever the heck that was. I don't want this. Okay, I need this point. I need you to go up, not all the way down there. I don't think that interpolation's doing too good. Let's try. Oh, that's neat. It's got some built-in dynamic effects. Wow, bounce is just already in. Wow. Okay. Circular. Sure. This one I probably ought to actually make consistent, so circular as well. But the other way. Is there a way to do? Okay, yeah, circular's fine, but like, I would like it to be the other way, where it like slows down, or it's fast and then slow. And then this is obviously way too high. We'll need one more keyframe in between anyway. So let's look at 80, then 100, and then 120. So let's see, where does it reach at 80? Because I can basically just keyframe it wherever it ends up. Except I can't do that because this pace isn't quite right, but we'll do it for now. I mean, just getting into the right place, well, yeah, maybe? No. Anyway, 100 is going to be the same as 80. Whatever 80 happens to be. We'll go to 100. Paste that in. Paste that in. Then keyframe it. And then this one is going to be the 0.0556 plus the 0.0167. That's in 0.0723. Great. And you may notice that this one, in the end, oh, wait, I need to do that here. 0.0723. We're covering less ground than in the other one. And a worrying issue is I don't know if these lines are going to be in the same place for a loop. In fact, they're definitely not. So maybe I should have actually thought out how far it's going to travel. So I need to make sure that the start and end points are roughly like visually similar. So this and this need to have them in the same place. Whoops, okay. If anything, that seems to just imply it's traveled too far. Or not far enough, like either way. Um, let's see. It's here, crouches, it jumps once. Okay. So it lands, crouches and jumps, and it's back down. Then it jumps. Do we want each jump to try to... I mean, we start in kind of a weird spot with the texture, unfortunately. But we could try to make it where each jump covers one line exactly. Okay, actually, this is a useful beacon point. Because it's basically landing right on the line. So I'd want, after this jump, I'd want it to be on the next line. So let's try moving this, actually, 0.7, 0.75, 0.8, 1, oh, 0.6. Okay, so let's try putting this one at 0.6. Place keyframes. Oh, no, 0.0. Oh, that was the issue, 0.06. Okay, hold on, because that's going to do, like... Right, so we're here. We're at 0.167, and it's on the line. And then we're here, and then the ground goes crazy. Okay, so let's regroup. 0.05. This should be 0.05. But no, let's try 0.06. 0.08. Okay, 0.07 was actually fairly close to the mark. Place the keyframe for that. 0.05 just as a placeholder to fix this keyframe nonsense. Replace key. No, not this one. Because this keyframe really should be about halfway through. Oh, right, this is the other one. They both have to be 0.07. That keyframe went up so high I forgot it existed. Okay. So here we are. We start here. We jump. We cover a lot of ground. We land. We jump. We need to cover half of that ground again. So what's the difference between this one being at 0.016 and this one being at 0.07? Okay, let's see. 0.07 minus 0.0167 gets us 0.0533. Yeah, funny, we're seeing these same numbers. I'm sure there's an interesting reason for it, like traveling consistent distances. But my brain is too tired to think up a smart reason for it, or at least to fully understand it. So, anyway, this does tell us where our start and end keyframes need to be, and then it's just a matter of fixing the interpolation between them, which is, I'd say, easier, but honestly, we'll see. So 0.0167. 0.0167 minus 0.0533 gets us negative 0.0366, which is unfortunately where we're going to have to start. 0.0366. Place that keyframe. Now we start here, we land on the line. Okay, hold on, that seems a little too far, don't it? Well, maybe not. Oh, no, it needs to only cover half of that distance. Okay, hold on. 0.0533 over 2, and then 0.0167 minus 0.02665. Negative 0.00995. Right, because this is only... I forgot. So from here is a full leap to here, between frames 40 and 80. But the problem is that between frames 100 and 120 is only half of a leap, and the other half of it is between 0 and 20. So we can't do the full 0.533 distance. We need to do half of it. So this needs to not be negative 0.0366. This needs to be negative 0.00995. Replace keyframes. Okay. So it lands. Stays, it launches, it lands, it stays, and it launches. Okay. So from 0.0701, we need to once again add that 0.02665. 02665 plus 0.07. It's a 0.09665. Oh boy. Okay. 0.09665. Not a lot of motion. Doesn't need to be a lot of motion. So here we are. We let it fall. We let it fall. Okay, so the motion's right. Now it's just a matter of fixing the interpolation, which is really bad right now. Maybe we do Bezier. Last time that got us some wonkiness, but yeah, that wonkiness in specific. Why is the tab like that? Why is there only one tab for starters? And why is it so insistent on going down instead of up? Interesting that they always seem to, the interpolation seems to control the following section. There we go. Okay. Interpolation or easing type. Oh, handle type. Okay. Let's do... Actually, a free handle might be handy if you'll give me the handle, darn it. That's only on Bezier's. Yes. So anyway, fast and then slows into the land. Actually, should this all just be linear? Maybe this should all just be linear. What? No, I don't know what I just did. I clicked the wrong button and I didn't see what I clicked. That's always ominous. Linear. This doesn't look right. This one's linear, that's good. But why is this... Honestly, this doesn't even need a middle keyframe. Clear keyframe. No, not all of them. Clear. Delete keyframes. Okay, just the one. This isn't going to look the most natural, but it's a start. Yeah, we definitely... I'm going to have to... We'll find an ease in for that, but man, it loops well, don't it? In fact, I bet anyone who was trying to guess where it looped would guess that awkward part where it stutters when it first lands, which would be wrong, but would still point out the fact that even though we got a very smooth loop, there's a part we need to fix. But before I do that, let's go back to Texture Sneak and make sure that it's... that's what I was afraid of. I go to Armature and we do Sneak. And I go to this and we do Texture Sneak. Yeah, okay, so it is just editing the one. Oh, dang it, why is that a duplicate button? Doop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doop. Okay, doop-a-doop-a-doop. Okay. Interesting. Well, it's nice that I can keyframe the heck out of anything I want, but I would like to be able to control which action it's on. Uh-huh. Maybe I've got too many views open and I'm not seeing a control for it. That does happen sometimes. But it doesn't look like it's the case here. Okay. Blender. See which action you're keyframing, or choose which action is keyframe. That's not a sentence, but maybe it'll get me what I need. How to bind material change to a single animation action. How keyframes of properties can be added to action. Okay, this is 8 years old. I hope this is still relevant. Here's a driver that ties the property. Let's see. Looking for an option to invoke the action BGE. Currently experimenting with drivers, but makes things much more complicated. They've got Blender docs about drivers. I don't know if I want to be Oh, and good, that's not even in here anymore because that's a Blender 2.6 doc. That ain't okay. That's not the solution anymore. If it ever was. Let's see. Blender add material keyframe to specific action. It's easy to keyframe anything, but if I need to be able to choose which action I'm keyframing it to. Blender community comment post. Oh no, it's never good when you're trying to do something and you don't run across the features we're looking for post from years ago. NLA workflows. Man, everyone talks about the donut tutorial. Well, interesting. This is an interesting site, Blender Community, which apparently seems to merge a bunch of other. Either these are different channels, and they've made themselves a custom social media page. Or no, Communities looks like it's another site. Interesting. Under NPR. Non-photorealistic. Okay, well, one thing at a time. Let's look and see if I'm gonna, because it's not even the same object, so I can't really map the texture to it on a different object. Well, let's see. Looking at skipping. Can I add a channel that is some other thing entirely? I don't think I want to do that. Let's see. Can I get a new channel? No, 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 no. Okay. What about grouping them? I mean, yeah, I can mass expand them, but that's not really helpful right now. Interesting. Keep looking. Video sequencer, movie clip editor. I don't think that's what we need right now. Okay, well, fair enough. Manual frame range, no. I've got the action editor open. Nice if I could see or add other actions into this. Add texture channel to action editor. Let's try looking that. Let's try Googling that. Add texture channel to action editor Blender. Hmm. No, I'm not looking for Blender add-ons. At least I hope I'm not. Hmm. Okay, wait, it says I need to add an empty animation data to this object in order for it to show up here. Or just want to even do this. That was worth a shot. They've got some weird stuff hidden in here. But I don't think that's it. Hmm. Nope, that's not doing what I'm looking for it to do. Okay. Well, I mean, the good news is the other walking animation is super easy to rebuild. And so I may leave us with the skipping one for now, and we will tomorrow test rendering and exporting a finished animation, and then I will, meantime, I will also have to do a little research on, well, if we can add multiple actions to the material. Saving different actions to a Blender material. Or, no, that's not right. Okay, I'm just gonna look up Blender material actions. That's gonna be my last search because I do need to wrap a little bit early tonight. Yeah, any way to see material keyframes in the action editor. Okay, yeah, okay, I see what drivers are supposed to do, and I see how that would be a workaround. I don't want to mess with that right now. Okay, well, okay, hold on. Dope sheet, do we have... Oh, we do have it in here. But it's just the one node tree one. It's only... Doesn't look like it could create multiple for this. Huh. Let's see. Well, this is a dangerous thing to try. But let's dig out the console and type something real quick. If I can find it. Well, I know it pops up periodically. Oh, I can just say, here it is, console. Oh, okay, it's just another in this. But can I enter info into it? I don't think so. Outliner. ID root type. Type of ID block that the action can be used on. Do not change unless you know what you're doing. Interesting. Okay. I don't sufficiently know what I'm doing to do that smartly, so... I mean, the much easier solution would have been to just move this actual platform, but there's no fun in that, and I don't learn as much, so there was no way we were doing that. Animating, oh dear, this is for Blender 2.5 and it's in Japanese. That might be the least helpful thing I could have pulled up. Cool. Okay, I think that's probably good enough for tonight. I think we are going to wrap up here before I fall asleep. But yes, next time we will come back. We will, well, I will have done two things. One, I'll dig into this a little more and see if we can't find a solution for it. But two, one way or the other, we at least know that the skipping animation is working properly. If ominously. Oh, wait, hold on. Let me... Armature, animation, action editor. Put you back on skipping. Well, that's not good. Just like standing there nervously, pawing at the ground. What did I do? Skipping? Is it an issue with being able to render the whole thing? Because this looks nothing like skipping at all. All of you have keyframes. Okay, I know Pratfall's like a terrible animation, but at least it works. Sneak also works. Skipping appears to only be animating one leg, and it's not animating it correctly. Even Test Jaunt is working. This works as a sort of conveyor belt. I am tired of the actions. I don't know what I'm doing wrong or if this is an issue with Blender, but I'm tired of these, like, just breaking randomly. And it's not like these things ever break randomly. There's got to be a reason for it, typically. So I need to figure out what's causing this, because that is extraordinarily frustrating. I mean, A, this looks like it's from the test jaunt motion almost. Or from sneak possibly, but only a little bit of it. It's not even the right motion for skipping. Well, that's as far as the way back goes. I know that skipping exists. I need to figure out this NLA tracks thing. Is that sneak? That's test jaunt. It's not even impact any of them anymore. Okay. Hmm. I encountered something like that before, and I'm trying to remember what caused it. I want to say it was an issue of something just not being selected properly. Make sure we got sneak, got test jaunt, sneak, and skipping. Please do this one. There we go. Okay, yep. I can tell I'm getting a little aggravated with it, and frankly, I'm tired enough that if I break something at this point, I'm going to have to fix it tomorrow, which is never the note that you really want to end on. So let's just enjoy the fact that this is actually synced up quite nicely at the moment. Even though it struggles to render live, understandably. I do still need to figure out how to export a full-on render, but that's going to take about 10 minutes based on my current estimates of how long this is taking to render, and I don't want to mess with that right now. So, in lieu of that, I think we're just going to wrap up for tonight. And now that we're on the happy note of the animation seems to be working again, I will actually save. And I will see y'all at the next one. Thanks for dropping by. And I hope y'all have an excellent evening / morning / midday, wherever you happen to be. So have a good one, y'all.